Hi guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to look at how Boris Johnson has been warned of trouble ahead as the government's green agenda exasperates that growing divide between the red and the blue wall MPs. But this trouble may be avoidable if Boris can grow a pair of kahunas. As we discussed many times, those marginal seats are extremely vulnerable, and now it's official. On Wednesday, several of the new Red Wall intake used the party's WhatsApp group to launch a blistering attack on the government's climate change policy and Johnson's net zero target thing. And the news is now in the public domain. It's not good. It's not good. Lee Anderson, the MP for Ashfield, who had less than a 6,000 vote majority, and Mark Jenkinson, the MP for Workington, who had a less than a 5,000 majority, were among those to speak out publicly against the proposals after internal polling showed how unpopular they were among the car-driving public. Now, it was reported in The Sun, but I don't think The Sun will report what these guys said with quotation marks. I just don't believe they'll do that. They told Anne-Marie Trevelyan, the two ministers, the climate change minister, that ploughing ahead with such policies risked losing thousands of voters and could cost the party the next election. In fact, one Conservative former minister told the Telegraph they were at it all sodding day. It made my eyes bleed. Now, it's plain to see that the old split within the Conservative Party is beginning to bubble to the surface again. And the reason is simple. The traditional hardline ERG Brexiteer numpties need to pay back their political sponsors. But the MPs on the ground who won those red wall seats, they're becoming more and more increasingly concerned. You see, they haven't been able to A, explain the absence of the promises of unicorns and pots of gold following Brexit, B, the lack of food choice on empty supermarket shelves, C, increasing food prices, and D, increasing energy bills. And to top it all off, the voters are becoming aware that the EU have passed the vaccine rollout programme of the UK that Boris and his other numpties depended on and fed off for the last 12 months. Now, this says nothing of the inevitability that there are few voters in the UK that tragically did not know someone that has died as a result of the botched handling of the pandemic. And let's be under no illusion, it was botched, okay? This time it seems sure that Johnson is the sacrificial lamb over whose head that axe is now hanging. He cannot satisfy both sides. It's impossible. As I've said in the past, when things are going well, few people complain. But when things start to turn south, the SH1T hits the fan. Johnson is front and center on front of that fan. And I think he's in a wind tunnel. Okay. Again, though, this debacle displays the shallowness of the current Conservative policy, because when the same deep throat was asked whether the Green policies could be brought forward without causing a rupture, he said, absolutely not. The problem is that the PM can't decarbonise without it hurting the red wall more than most other constituencies. Now, obviously, there are no benefits in these numpties' eyes of handling climate change. They're only after their seats. That's all they want to consider. And the solution is to get investment into those areas ASAP. The problem is that nobody with two brain cells to rub together would consider setting up a country whose publicly preferred trading partner is 3,500 miles away. You know, it makes no sense. But the really bad news isn't what was mentioned earlier. The big killer right on the horizon is inflation. The UK is currently running at 2.5%, which is 10% above the EU average. But despite the statements coming now from the heavily politicised Bank of England, which is always a bad thing. When your central bank is a full political, like outreach program, you've got a problem. Brexit, the Bank of England say everything is okay. The market expects that figure to reach 3% before too long. Okay, 3%, salaries can't keep pace with that. So Boris and his Brexit numpties are stuck behind the 8 ball. Sunak has already put all the departments on notice that there is a very tough mid-term adjustment coming and savings need to be made. And therein lies the problem. There are basically 3 ways the government can balance the books. A is to invest in public capital projects. B is to reduce interest rates. And C is to cut back on government expenditure. Now, much though I would like to see a short or medium-term solution, I cannot. Let us not forget 2 major roadblocks that are fast approaching here. One is the introduction of border checks on the UK side in order to collect customs duty and VAT advance payments. The second is that equivalence on the UK's cash cow, the City of London. That's on shaky ground, very shaky ground, particularly as Sunak has made it obvious and announced it publicly that London wishes to dilute the safety measure currently in place for investors. It must be remembered that it was London that was the main author of those EU regulations. They were the main leader, and now they're doing a U-turn. Sunak's doing a U-turn, okay? Now, so in the medium term, if the EU takes the line that equivalence to the city is in any way undermining the security and prosperity of the EU's market, they will pull equivalence, just like they did with Switzerland. They won't hesitate. Now, should that happen, and it looks likely, as soon as the EU's financial centres reach critical mass in trading key assets, the attraction of London as a financial hub will diminish, and it'll diminish mighty quickly. Mighty quickly. In summary, with economic growth forecasts looking like Beecher's Brook on a rain-soaked Grand National Day, rising inflation, increased food costs, driver shortages, along with whatever other crap you wish to pour on the fire, none of it comes even close to the complete balls up of the Thatcher comment that Boris made. Nothing. The WhatsApp row messages make it very clear that the party conference is not going to be the celebration of Brexit that Boris and his numpty mates touted for the last 5 years. He hasn't got the vaccine rollout garbage to deflect sitting MPs in their new red and blue seats, as well as the Tories that are in the marginal seats. Don't forget, there's, like, I only counted up to 5,000. That's 39. Now, just before I go, it's worth remembering here that there was only 400,000 votes between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party in the whole country in the last election. See you on the flip side.